So, before we get stuck in, don't forget to smash the like button. Yes, you smash the like button. If you wish, leave a little comment below. But please try and subscribe, smash the like button. That helps the video get out to more people, and then we get more visibility, and then everybody can help to invest, save, and get control of their finances. So, number one thing you can do, and it's probably the most important thing out of all of the topics that we're going to cover today, is investing in yourself. So, what I mean by that is investing your time into yourself. So, having a look at all of your finances, your education, your understanding, and really look at what you can actually learn and achieve. So, things like online courses, reading books, learning about new topics, learning new skills, updating your CV, whatever it might be, invest your time in yourself. I know that's a bit of a boring one, and we'll come on to all the exciting investing money and the rest of it. But actually, a number one key thing is to invest time in yourself and allow you to grow. Did you know there's various studies to suggest that actually learning a new topic or understanding things actually gives you a greater impact or understanding of various topics and the ability to learn and digest information far more than perhaps taking a punt on the stock market or whatever it might be. So some of the things that I would suggest you have a look at is obviously online training courses. So if you can learn a new language or a new subject, or perhaps learn how to edit videos properly, you could learn to drive. That is an investment in yourself if you haven't got a license already. There are numerous things that you can learn to invest in yourself. Now, one of the things that I do believe in is actually studying and understanding what you're going to do. So if your goal is to invest money, for example, I suggest you try and read up and learn a lot about that. Obviously, these YouTube channels are going to help you, but some of the information that I've learned in the past is invaluable. So some of the books that I would recommend are The Intelligent Investor, which is a book about how not to get drawn into exciting things like dividends or growth stocks and the rest of it. And that is really kind of a summary of that particular book. Then you've got the almighty famous Rich Dad Poor Dad, about a journey of discovery from a young child who had two dads, not parents, two dads. One was his biological dad and the other not. And how he saw his rich dad and his poor dad, and it teaches you about assets and liabilities. And I think that's a really good starter book. They actually do lots of training courses themselves. I would recommend you go perhaps to some of the free training ones, especially to do with property if you're interested in that. But I would say that probably you need to think long and hard if you're going to go onto their mentorship programs. They are kind of university level of costs. I've done some of them myself, so I can speak for first hand. I did the initial free course, then I did the kind of 5 day long seminar up in London, and it was very useful. Really, for me, I was kind of a few steps ahead of some people, so that was a more, into some ways, a pat on the back and some new ideas. But I didn't go for the full mentorship thing. It is expensive, but the book itself is pretty inspiring. You've also got The Richest Man in Babylon. That is about compound interest essentially, and the ability to get your money to grow, and how the king of the place basically discovered that some of the poorer people, what he deemed to be poor people, were considerably better off than him because they had structured a business model or way of essentially getting compound interest. onto things. And then probably one of the other books that is pretty good is the Boglehead's Guide to Three Fund Portfolio. So if you want to keep your investment portfolio really simple and just have kind of three key diverse funds, that is a book all about that, and how Vanguard and the Boglehead's arrangement was formed, and what it does today. And then probably The Millionaire Next Door. That's a favourite book of mine. I do like that one. Essentially, it's about lots of studies and so on to say about first generation millionaires and various millionaires who don't really perhaps appear to be a millionaire on the first glance, and what they do to actually keep their costs down so that they then become millionaires. So the millionaire next door, as in the guy that doesn't look like a millionaire, or lady that doesn't look like a millionaire, who lives next door in a pretty mediocre street, but has actually accumulated quite a lot of wealth, and how you can do that. So those are my kind of invest in yourself, if you like. Links are below to all of those books and others. I do receive a small commission if you buy through the links. You don't have to at all, it's pence anyway, so it really makes no difference. What I really want you to do is to actually invest in yourself and read these books, take the training courses, invest time in your own knowledge. So the second way to invest is actually starting, if you don't already have, an emergency fund. So what you want is, generally speaking, about 3 to 6 months living expenses. So we're not talking about going down the pub and enjoying yourself and having a nice meal out or whatever when the pubs and restaurants are back open. But what we're talking about is your mortgage payments, your utility bills, your key things. So you need to have those saved up. And then that way you've got money that you can access that perhaps isn't locked away anywhere, and it will prevent you from having to access the money that is locked away. So what I mean by that is that if you've got £10,000 in stocks and shares, and your living expenses for 6 months are £10,000, and the market crashes and you lose your job, your £10,000 invested in the stock market is not going to be worth £10,000. It would have gone down. So you need a cash reserve. Now we'll come on to the fact people think that keeping cash is negative because it loses its value because you don't get interest on it. So we'll cover that in a second as to what we need to do with the cash. But actually, what needs to happen is you need that living expenses set aside so that if there is a crash and you lose your job and something happens, that you're not forced to dip into your investment portfolio. Because remember, generally speaking, the market crashes, the market recovers. So if you can be in a good position where you can leave that there and then you don't have to touch it, so therefore you're not going to lose out. You won't have to feel like you can dollar cost average your way out of a problem. Nothing at all. You can just leave it there. It doesn't matter what's happening to it because you've got your reserve fund. You've got your emergency cash. Now, you need to make sure that cash is actually set aside somewhere, that you don't keep dipping into it and touching it. But also you need to make sure that it is in a savings account that really tracks at least minimum the amount of inflation your country's in. Obviously at the moment most places are in 0 to negative, but if you can get a sort of 1% on your cash, that kind of thing, maybe 2% in the better times, it's at least going to keep track so you're not losing your money. If I give you £100 today, in a year's time it's only worth £99. So if you don't invest it properly into at least a savings account that you can access straight away, then you're going to lose money on that. So that's number 2, having an emergency fund. 3 to 6 months. Some people recommend longer, some people recommend less. If you search people like Dave Ramsey, Graham Stephan, Andre Gide, people like that, they will have loads of videos on this, so feel free to check theirs out, and they'll have different ideas and different advice as well. So number 3 is investing a bit of time into a side hustle. Now, obviously side hustles vary for different people, but simple ones are things like purchasing items on eBay, recycling them or cleaning them up and then selling them on for a profit. I think that's a brilliant way for most people to make a little bit of side money very easily with little hassle. Nowadays you can get companies like My Herms and so on to come to your house and collect the items. We're all working from home generally speaking at the moment, so this is a brilliant method for you to get a little bit of tax-free money by recycling second-hand goods. There are other side hustles. YouTube, what we're doing here, is a side hustle. You can grow your audience, eventually become monetized. Obviously, it does take a bit of work. No different to the eBay thing. You can also use credit cards for points churning. So if you're spending money already, why not think about spending it on a credit card, then using your cash to pay off that credit card if the credit card is giving you points or cash back. That way you're getting something back every time you spend some money. So you can also look at things like freelancing or giving over information on the internet. So there are plenty of companies that do things like proofreading, CV writing, data entry. You can volunteer for things, so marketing exercises, filling in forms, product feedback, that kind of stuff. Those are good ways of doing things in and around your normal life as well. So if you're furloughed or you're not furloughed, doesn't really matter. You can probably fit all those things in around kind of your day-to-day ongoing, so they're quite good. Obviously some of them do take a small commission, so you need to watch out for that's not eating into your side hustle profit. But basically, if you can spend the time searching on the internet, find various companies that will give you money in exchange for your time in inputting data or information or feedback, then that is also a good way of earning some extra money. So the fourth way is investing some money into the stock market. Whether you're choosing to do an ETF, so an overall fund like the S&P 500 or FTSE 100 or whatever it might be via a company say like Vanguard or Trading 212, or whether you want to invest in individual stocks. They are an excellent way of actually growing your wealth and getting a decent return on your money. Obviously, as I've mentioned before in previous videos, including this one, the stock market is not somewhere where you put your money in and you think, oh, I'm going to make a few pounds and then or a big amount of money and then I'm going to withdraw it in a few weeks' time or months. It's a long-term strategy. You need to buy and then hold the item. Buy and hold, buy and hold, buy and hold. That's it. There'll be dips, there'll be ups, there'll be downs, whatever. But you need to just consistently buy. A lot of people like Mama Furfur, she will refer to it as autopilot. I've always found that's a bit of a kind of Tesla-y term, but autopilot in the sense that it's a direct debit essentially, and it comes out of your bank account every single month, and it's just automatically invested and you don't see it. But the net result over a long period of time, really we're talking 5 to 10 years for investments in the stock market, is that you should get a pretty decent return. I think studies suggest that the S&P 500 has actually failed to return less than 8% over its historic historic data over the last, I think it's 15 or 20 years. So 8%, and that's adjusted for inflation. So we're not talking 8% minus the 2% that it goes up every year. This is an 8% flat return. So essentially, if you invested £100 a week or a month when you're 20, all the way to you're 60, so you continue doing that consistently throughout your life, then actually you'll be well over a millionaire by the end of it. There's lots of compound interest calculators out there. We'll probably do a video on its own on that to show the real benefits of long-term compound interest. But essentially a small amount invested every week or month or whatever can actually return a really good return on your investment long term. Just a brief message just to say, obviously this video is for educational purposes only and entertainment value. You need to do your own research, especially if you're investing in the stock market. I can't advise you as to what stocks are a good pick. I can only give you my educational and entertainment input and value on this. So please, if you're confused or need further advice, seek a professional, independent financial advisor. So the fifth way of making income and investing your time is to actually make a training course of some nature, an online training course or a physical one. Nowadays there are so many tools out there. I'm filming this on an iPhone, editing it with the software on my iPhone. Anybody can do that. Take your knowledge, perhaps what you might have learned in point one, where you're investing your time, and really turn that into some kind of passive income style training course where people are paying a subscription fee or a one-time only fee to download your training course and do that. The massive benefit of that is that it's a lot of work to start with, but it's a one-time only event. Obviously you can return to it and tinker with it and update it if it needs to be done that way. Obviously I'm aware that some industries you'll need to constantly tinker with things because legislation changes, but if you can make that package and then find an audience to sell it, use your Facebook to profiles to draw them into YouTube or whatever it is. If you run your own business already, maybe you can piggyback off the back of that to side hustle some other income in there. But training courses are a wonderful thing because they're a lot of effort to start with, but once they're done, they generally speak, they just sit there and they're held, and then you just tinker with them a little bit and people tend to buy them. If you make them quite cheap, they're very attractive even, and people will come in and pay a monthly fee for that. And obviously you can make your videos or packages, if you like, as entertaining or not as possible. It depends how serious you want them to come across, what your skill set level is, but definitely it's something that you can invest your time in to making, which will then generate you some income. So I hope you like the video. That should give you some really good ideas of how you can invest your money and maybe make yourself a side hustle, which might even turn into your full-time job eventually. So without really too much effort, I do believe most people can make some kind of passive income of some nature once they put a little bit of work into it. So that's the end of the video. If you could like and subscribe, I'd be really appreciated. You can hit the notification bell. The links to the books that I mentioned earlier down below. If you'd like a free stock, I valued up to £200 in trading 2-on-2. Just sign up, credit the account, a small amount of money. They've got a brilliant feature on there where you can invest some fake money, if you like, into the market. You can have a practice before you actually go into the market. But if you would like a free stock or share in them, please click the links below. I get one obviously, but you will get one as well. It could be valued up to £200. I mean, generally speaking, I am getting ones between £8 and £15. So it's £8 or £15 you won't get otherwise if you're thinking about doing that particular avenue. Obviously there are various other descriptions down below, and again, as I say, the affiliate links for Amazon for those books. So if you could share the video, like, subscribe, comment below, hit the notification button, all of that kind of stuff, it will really help. YouTube loves a bit of that. Please comment below, even if it's just a I don't like the video, I like the video. Maybe you've got some other ideas on videos I could do, who knows. But if you could do all of the interactive various tasks that YouTube set out in order to get the video pumped out to more people, I would really appreciate it. So with that said, see you next time.